Hello, Professor Corbett. For my final journal, I have decided to reflect upon myself during the 2-week course and how I have evolved as a negotiator. For this reflection, I will be looking at the consciousness competence matrix to illustrate how I have grown. Starting in the beginning with unconsciously incompetent. So I think the best way to illustrate this is being the first day of class. All of us, including myself, came in not knowing much about negotiations, kind of like the basics, kind of what it is, how some people do it, but other than that, not a whole lot. So we were only introduced to a few tactics that day, for example, the Harvard method. So looking at this and looking at how I believe that I was very unconsciously incompetent is through the first exercise of our course with the student and the teacher. This negotiation seemed very rigid to me, and it seemed like I was just kind of going out there on a whim and hoping that I could come out with a good result. The reason why I believe this is because of the fact that since we were introduced to material so early on and so quickly, that I think that it wasn't enough time for me to fully comprehend and understand what I learned and properly put it into a negotiation. So this made me feel really uncomfortable with negotiating, as I was just starting out, and although this was a test, it really showed how I could handle myself in kind of this stressful situation. So kind of moving forward to the second day of class, I didn't really feel much better with the workplace fantasy sport negotiation. Although I had some more content to work off of, I still felt that I was quickly getting overwhelmed with all the facts and just purely discussing with my opponent. So for me, I feel that these first 3 days, 3 days were very crucial in kind of understanding that I wasn't actually very good at this, that it was going to take a lot more dedication and a lot more reading of the material and kind of reflecting upon myself to understand what kind of negotiator I was going to be. So moving forward into the consciously incompetent portion of the matrix. So this kind of started for me after the third day when we did the wine price negotiation. This exercise, although it wasn't a standard negotiation, I felt like I was a bit more aware of what I was saying and trying to accomplish. I knew of some of the tactics I was using, but what to do at this point, I still found it hard to put it all together. So for me, even though I felt that I was being more aware of what I was trying to do, I still knew that if I wanted to become better, I needed more tactics from the course as well as more training and reflection. For me, I believe that the consciously incompetent stage really stuck with me until the first week of class was over. For some reason, I think that I needed time to really think about myself and how I go into negotiation to become better. So kind of thinking back on this, all these different negotiations, I felt that with the consciously incompetent, I knew after the third day that it was something that I was starting to work on, starting to get better. However, I knew for a fact that I wasn't putting in my complete best that I could be putting in, as well as I feel that me as myself trying to articulate the words and trying to understand what my other opponent was looking for, I think would have really helped me move forward in the stage. So moving on to the third part of the matrix, which is consciously competent, I felt that I was moving into this stage after the first week concluded. So because of this, I felt better with my negotiating skills. So because of this, I felt that it was time to switch up my tactics and start planning for these negotiations the night before if I had the chance to. I think that this really helped me understand what myself and what my side of the negotiation was looking for, and I think it gave me some tactics and some pre-planning to be able to properly go about the negotiation the next day. So I decided that when looking at the race negotiation with Subaru, because of this planning, because of this kind of reflection of my tactics, I felt more prepared for the negotiation. So one of the reasons that I believe, again, that I felt better was during the weekend I was able to soak up all the material that we learned during the previous week, and therefore I was able to have a better understanding from an application point of view. Being able to take all the different methods and all the different articles that we've read and learned, being able to understand what they were really meaning and able to apply them in the negotiation. As well, I feel that having the weekend and having that break really gave me the understanding and the time to reflect on my own negotiation style. So after kind of reflecting on myself as a negotiator, I decided as well at this time doing the write-up on interest-based bargaining, I thought that this would be a great attempt and a great negotiating style to follow. As well, within the following days, I learned how important it was to be a good listener in a negotiation. How sometimes you can figure out the other side's BATNA, or figure out what they are really looking for in a negotiation to help yourself and to help the other side. So, though this downtime was very nice and I gave myself time to reflect, with a few more negotiations under my belt, I believe that I would have the skills and become a lot more aware of what I was doing, but I still know that a lot more time and a lot more effort will be needed to continue to move on with my negotiating skills. And finally, for unconsciously incompetent, for this, I still believe that I have not actually gone to the stage as of yet. The reason why I feel that I am not at this stage is because I have so much more to learn about being a negotiator. And that although we've learned so much material in these past 2 weeks, for me, I don't think that this material can really describe the different moments that a negotiator will be in, and how the only way to get better in these new and different situations is to constantly be training on your negotiating skills. So kind of reflecting back on it, I believe that over time, I'll be able to become unconsciously incompetent by doing lots of practice with my negotiating skills. For me, I don't think that this will come at the end of this year. It may not even come to the end of my bachelor's degree, but I believe that if I continue to use these skills as much as I possibly can, I believe that one day I will become an amazing negotiator. Again, I want to thank you so much for this course. I've learned so much from you. All these exercises, everything that I've learned has been absolutely amazing. This year, these 2 weeks have been a really fun time and a really cool way of a different type of course to learn. And I think that this application way, instead of just purely textbook and purely material learning, is a great way to go about it. So I thank you for that. It's helped me so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to have you again as a course instructor sometime soon. Thanks. Bye.